got about 5%, and it's not my phone's not charging up. So I'm probably at the end.
Mm. Yeah.
But it's been a good conversation, though.
Oh, most definitely. I'm glad Cassie came in to give a woman's perspective. Um,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah,
she's a tad bit off on certain things, but hey, for the most part, she's pretty accurate. But
yeah.
the part where we was talking about when she was talking about that the women they just had to do it by themselves. No, that was a choice. They chose to do it by themselves. When they got
Yeah,
offered the opportunity, they took it. They
yeah,
bit. They bit the forbidden fruit, and they took that. So it's not men's fault. We was always there. We was always
yeah.
there. Even though that it might have been hard for us um to provide, but we was trying, and we did better when we was trying together. We should as men and women we should have came up with a solution together. And then because if they had came to us with that same deal, we wouldn't have took it. We wouldn't have took it. We
Yeah.
wouldn't have abandoned. We wouldn't abandon our women and children to save ourselves, because we are not selfish. And when Cassie was talking about, oh well, women are selfless. No, they're not. We all know that they're not.
She
They will
was
break
saying
up.
we both were selfish.
No, she said that women are selfless. I said
Oh,
that I said that women are selfish. She said that they are selfless. That they put
mm.
their families over their own selves, and that's a lie. Because when a woman's not happy, oh, she's out of them. And especially today, in today's time, if she's not happy, she is out of them.
I
And then
think this is gonna be the one to trigger people.
And
oh,
that's a fact. That's a fact. And I'm gonna touch in here real quick.
mhm.
It by nature, a woman will sacrifice her child before she takes the fall and sacrifice for herself. She'll sacrifice the man. She'll sacrifice the child for her own survival. So it's definitely in a woman's nature to be selfish and not selfless. It only would make
What
sense
makes
for
you
her
say that?
because it shows in history and it has showed through slavery. And I'm not trying to make this history class, but if you read some of the history books, it's been documented that women have grown this behavior through the slavery mentality, mostly through slavery. So when they were forced to watch the men get pulled apart by horses, the fighting warriors, uh, the woman was submitting immediately, even though the child was in danger. After the master wanted to, do whatever they wanted, they surrendered their children with no hesitation because they wanted to survive and make sure that they were able to carry on and live the next day and still procreate and see the future. So that's where this is coming from. It's definitely in the book or the Willie Lynch letter, I believe. I can't remember which one it was, but it's definitely written in there. So that's definitely a true statement.
Well, throughout history. All right, go ahead. Okay, there we go. Throughout history, women have always been in survival mode because if a person lived to 30, what I'm saying, we talking a few hundred years ago. If they lived to 30, it was amazing if man or woman because they would. I mean, it was brutal back then because you could get deleted quite easily. Back in the Viking days where the conquerors used to come into a village and they would delete the men and they would delete the children unless they was the children was a girl of a certain age, a female of a certain age, and they could use her. But outside of
Correct.
that, they would delete the men and they would delete the children, and the women had to decide where they either can go with the men or they can suffer the same fate as their husbands. What they're doing? They didn't play back then. They definitely the women definitely were in survival mode all through history.
Correct. Correct. And if the men were away, traveling and looking for new lands and territory, and their homeland got invaded, the children that were there were definitely getting killed, set on fire, and we already know what is happening to the women back home as well. So if it came to a point where the mother was going to watch her child get struck down with a sword, she may step in, but not all the time was that the case. And I'm not saying women were just letting their children get slaughtered, but let's look at today. There's some women out there who believe that most men are living their best life if they become a single mother and would choose and rather leave the child with the father. And I don't know. I know I seen a video not too long ago where a woman literally got this mentality or just said that, well, I don't want this kid anymore. You're out here living your best life, when he's basically been side by side with her, raising their child together. And now she wants to get up and quit. And she's, well, I need to be living my best life. I got other men trying to get at me. Da, da, da. Okay, well, you mess around and go out there and do what you want to do, but don't come back and think that when shit gets better on our end and shit gets worse on your end, that we're just gonna take you back. No. If the son should grow up, or the child, whatever it is, the child should grow up to be famous, best believe the mother's coming back around. If the husband should come around and find another partner, a wife preferably, the woman's going to come back around. Now, obviously the man's not going to take her, but the child should accept the fact that, the mother made a mistake, whatever the case may be. They may find it forgiving in their heart, but 9 times out of 10, depending on how long the mother will be gone, you could kiss that whole opportunity window gone. Because just like men, athletic men, do the same thing to their fathers. Well, you left my mom at a young age and let us, struggling. They don't reconcile with relationships with their father that abandoned their mother. So it happens. It happens more often than we would like to think, because it's not being constantly talked about, because in the eyes of the world, it's the man constantly leaving the women for the children, or leaving the women behind with the kids to go run off, be in the streets, and live a better life. No, that's not the case. More often, as we're finding out now, women are running off the men and choosing for them and the child that it would be better for them to just be on their own, when we all know that is not helping anyone at all. So when women go out there and do jobs and stuff, we all know they're not out there working real jobs. They're out there doing nail technicians, hair salons, security, and I'm seeing a lot more women doing security, which I get a crack out of that, because it's like, how are you being security? And if you were to get robbed today, or something should happen in a physical altercation, you're not going to be able to stop this man at full force. There's just no way. You'd have to be relying on another man to come in and help you, maybe two. So it's just baffling. It really is.
Now I got a clip. I'm gonna have to find it, where this man, he walked up. He was doing street interviews, and he would ask women and he would ask men. The question was, if the Grim Reaper came to you and said, I have to take one of you, do I take you, or do I take your husband? And this was asked to men and women. 90-something% of the women said, take my husband. But 80% plus of the men said,
take me. Yep. And there's the point I'm making. A woman is never going to give up her advantage if it doesn't make sense to. I've never heard or seen a woman there's very few, but I've never seen a woman just miraculously trick herself out of a position where she wasn't going to benefit from it. That you just don't see. You don't see it. Unless for sure the woman just feels as though it's no longer suitable to her, or she just really is not into that lifestyle anymore. But you're not going to hear or see a woman just step down from a position where she can't benefit and put herself in a position where she's going to struggle. Like, no.
Well, women throughout history have never had to sacrifice themselves for us. It was always that the men, the stronger sex, sacrificed himself for the weaker sex.
Correct.
That's the way it's always been. And it is innate in us to protect the weaker vessels, which are the women and the children. That's why the women's always first whenever there's trouble. Whenever there's trouble, the women and children get on the boat to get to safety. We are the ones who stay behind to sacrifice ourselves against whatever forces is coming to do us harm. And that's always been who we were as men. We protect. We are protectors. So I don't believe none of that nonsense that a lot of women be talking about. Oh, well, men just don't protect us and we're unprotected, which is not true. Now they don't. We will protect women, but these masculine women who think that they are equal to men, I'm not willing to lay my life down for you because you don't care anything about my life.
Especially over some dumb shit. You got played by another dude, or your feelings got hurt. I don't give a fuck. I'm really not about to sacrifice my life over no foolishness because I don't even know the whole situation.
Language down.
Oh, my bad. I'm not about to sacrifice my life. I don't know the whole situation. Like that whole what was that dude? Travis Brandon, the wide receiver for San Francisco 49ers. Yeah, the lady felt some type of way because he was using her as, disrespectful hours. And she didn't like it, but she was married though. And when he told her to get on, she got in her feelings and told her brother and her friends to pull up and, shoot him down. And guess what happened? Her brother lost her life and some other dude lost his life because of a half-told story and because a woman was in her feelings and didn't like what was being said to her.
You talking about down there in Florida?
Yep.
Well, actually, what had happened? Yeah, she was married. Now, her brother didn't lose his life, but the guy that was with him did.
There was two people, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how many, but I know her brother lived, and one of the friends that was with him did not, because he was already ready. He was prepared.
Yeah.
And she tried to say, I don't think nothing happened to her. I think
no.
She didn't get no jail time, no nothing.
No, she started backtracking. She started backtracking. I'm like, oh, I didn't really mean it. Well, anyone with common sense is going to not take that threat lightly. So, and you got people actually showing up to my house at 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning. What you think I'm supposed to just be coming to open my door with open arms and singing Kumbaya? No. You sent these people here, so I don't want to have to do what I have to do to defend myself, but I will if I have to. And I'm outnumbered. So, yes, I'm going to assume these people were here to kill me. I don't know their true intentions. I don't even know 3 of these people except for one. And it sounded like from the story, the brother wasn't even trying to talk it over before it got out to where it got out to. So
he came there for a purpose.
Right.
When she called them and said, "Hey, I need you to go shoot that shit up." Excuse my language, but that's what she said verbatim. I need you to go shoot that shit up. And she tried to backtrack in court, tried to delete the messages and all that, but they got all of those messages.
Right.
And she tried to say, well, I didn't mean that. I just meant for him to go and talk to them or something.
Yeah, get out of here.
Come on, man.
GTFOH. GTFOH. Get out of here with that. Ain't nobody trying to hear that.
You know what? I really think that the only way things are going to start getting back to the way that we need them to be, if they take away all of the, I ain't going to say take away the privileges, but make it to where there are consequences.
Repercussions. Yes.
There are consequences for their action. If take away no fault divorce, get rid of that. And when there is a divorce, they already doing it in Florida, where alimony, lifetime alimony, get rid of that.
There's no more a thing, which I found out like a month ago too. And Tennessee's got that paternity fraud. And I really do believe, and I was saying on my Facebook post yesterday, if more men started showing up to the courts for paternity fraud just to even file, no elective is trying to get behind that mass amount of static with those type of numbers. If they're trying to be in a higher position for an elective, they look at that stuff and they get asked those type of questions. Well, what's going on here in this with this department in this section? That will either look good for the elective to be in his best interest to push that agenda, or not be in his best interest, because again, we pick these people to represent us as well, but no one wants to really have that conversation. So the more people start holding these women accountable on their own and start taking them to court for fraternity fraud, it will get pushed in the other 49 states, most definitely, because it's too big. It's too big, and it's catching too many eyes, too much attention.
Mm-hmm. Now, when it comes to fraternity fraud, now they passed it in Tennessee to where it's mandatory to get a DNA test at birth. So, but the way I see it, like I said, to make it consequences to actions. Now, if she says that this is this person's child and make him believe that it's child, but then they find out that it's not, there should be some consequences.
Yeah, there is. From what I read, they got to pay all the child support that the man had to pay. They have to pay it back, or they do jail time, and they're not going for that.
Mm-hmm. And and also when women accuse men of something that is not true, because if that man is convicted, say
the Jonathan Majors situation.
Yes, stuff like that. Now, if he hadn't been convicted, he was probably going to go to prison. So when they found out that it was not true, that woman should have been served with the same amount of time that he was going to get for that false accusation. Now that's what I feel. That if you lie on somebody, and because you got to look at it, men get destroyed just from allegations. Not even if it's true or not. Look at Johnny Depp. You see, Johnny Depp's career still has not came back after Amber Heard told these lies on him. You ain't never seen ain't no what do you call it? Pirates of the Caribbean. That's one of his biggest movies, or that one of his biggest series. You don't see no more of that. You don't see no more Johnny Depp films. Or that she destroyed his career off of false accusations. And I don't think that that's right. I think that everybody should be accountable for their actions, and I think that they need to be. That's how it is in other countries. You can't do things. You can't do what you want to do unless you're going to be ready to suffer the consequences. Because women have rights all over the world, but the difference is a lot of these other countries, there are consequences to their actions. They can do what they want to do. They don't, but be ready to suffer the consequences. Like over there in the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, and like Saudi Arabia and all those places. Those women, if they got caught with infidelity, I think they are either jailed or they're stoned in the street.
Stoned in the street.
Yeah. If a man get caught stealing, they cut their hands off.
Yep.
There's a lot of consequences for their actions. That's how it needs to be here. There need to be consequences for actions. I don't care nothing about the rights that women have. Yes, they gave them a lot of power. But the problem is, with that power, there are no consequences for when they have bad decisions. They need to take away child support. Take away it all together. Take it away altogether. I think that the child should go to the parent who is best financially able to support that child. But see, the thing is though, if you don't want to have to be fighting for child support, pick your mate a lot better. That will start making, because you gotta go back 100 years or so. Women went out just sleeping with the worst men in history. Us in our community, in the black community, our women are the only group of women on the planet that will sleep with and reproduce with the lowest of the low of men in that community.
And expect them to be a top-notch stand-up guy.
Exactly.
And then want to turn around and say they didn't know. Well, wait a minute. How you didn't know, but you let them open, you gave them access to your insides. Like, here's my thing. Like, how I just don't understand. How is it that these are the same women who swear up and down they strong, independent, and quote-unquote well-educated, but ain't educated enough to do some research on somebody before just taking their word. Y'all spend more time trying to investigate what other female was up in this man's apartment because of a drop of hair, but y'all not willing to investigate to see that the stories that they telling you to get, get what they want. That don't make no sense. Oh, well, he just changed. No, people don't just change. I mean, people do just change on the look of a dime, but most times, 9 times out of 10, they're just telling you lies. They're telling you a lie. But again, they don't want to do the research. But these, again, are the same women who are educated, but yet getting conned every day.
Mhm.
I done heard a story where a man told this one woman he was a musical producer, also he could get play, and found out he wasn't after he got it. I'm like, you didn't do no research. You didn't ask him to take you to no studio to show you time schedules. Don't ask what artist he work with, because he gonna come up with the quickest name possible. But people need to be willing to push that envelope and push people to that point where they have to prove it to you.
Mhm.
People need to actually start vetting and stop sexting. Vetting, like, it's not hard.
If you go back about 100 years or so, a woman having multiple partners, having just two or three partners was unheard of. Because if you had sex out of wedlock, you were considered a whore. And if it got around that you was a whore, you were finished. Because you got to look at back then, their livelihoods were tied to being able to find a husband and having a family and children. Their livelihood was tied to that. And if their reputation was that they were a whore, well, no man gonna want to marry them. And they either had two options. They could either move out of that city to where no one else knows them, because there was no social media back then. So once they moved to another city, nobody knows if they were if they had partners before. Or they either join the whorehouse and make a living that way. Those were pretty much the only two options they had back then. So if a woman, if another woman accused another woman of being a whore, those were fighting words, because her reputation was her everything. Everything relied on her reputation.
Correct.
That's just the way it was. Nowadays, a man would be happy if she had 5 bodies, because body count does matter. It does matter. And even though a lot of women say it doesn't, body count 100% matters. It definitely matters to the men that matter to you. Body count don't matter to the men that don't matter to the women. The men that they don't want, the men they can care less about, body count don't matter to them. But that man that you actually want, nothing doing. He cares about your body count.
Right. That's basically a woman's credit score right there.
Pretty much.
If we're being honest, that's basically your credit score, and that's what most women don't understand. And today, women's value has been given to them up front since birth. So, and a lot of the thing is, a lot of them have spent it poorly, watching other people mismanage their credit and their value poorly because they were taught wrong psychologically and didn't know no better, but yet young and dumb and still not looking around or asking nobody for no insight or getting with people who are having successful relationships and marriages. So when they come with us and say, well, when you get successful, why you got to cheat on me? Well, wait a minute. You can't tell me how to manage my credit score and my value after I had to basically build it from nothing, and tell me what I can and can't get with this credit score. I wasn't in your face telling you what you should do with your value when you had it, because now that you're at a certain age and you're no longer getting the attention and the admiration anymore, you can't sit here and tell some of these men how to use their value and how they should go about and stay faithful to one woman. Because once the man has mostly his life together and women are flocking to him like the locusts, you're not going to be really an option. You're most likely to be the last person on the totem pole, really, and you'll just be a call from here and there. But after that, it's layers of tiers of women, basically. You go from D tier to C tier to B tier to A tier. A plethora of them come when you're focused on your purpose and you start doing things correctly and you're in that limelight. It's all going to come. They're all going to come. they're all gonna show up to your doorstep. So it's just the mismanagement of value, and so they just don't understand that. Yes, men have value if they choose to work on themselves and do what's needed to be done and focus on the correct things at the right time. Chasing skirts is not benefiting any man, really. It's really not. Especially if you're young and you're older and you got no money, living in your parents' house, you shouldn't be really focused on that. You need to be focused on yourself.
Hmm. See, because you got to look at when it comes to value. Yes, women are pretty much trust fund babies. Men are self-made millionaires. When it comes to value, we have to go out and earn our value. It's not given to us like it is women. When women get to a certain age, their value is just handed to them. And what I've always said, what a lot of women what a lot of women disagree with, doing when it comes to value, what gives men and women their value? So they're doing a woman's value, and I've got a lot of pushback on this, but a woman's value is dictated in the marketplace, not her value as a human, but in the marketplace, a woman's value is dictated by the customers who are the customers of beauty and sexuality? The men. So the men give women their value in the marketplace because their beauty. Because men look at women for what? A few things: their beauty, their youth, chast, and there was another one I can't remember what it was. But yeah, those are the things that men look for. Oh, and fertility. Those are the things that the men that they want actually look for in women.
Correct.
So the best time for those women to get a man is when they're young. When there is not a whole plethora of bodies that they done went through. But yes, when it comes to the value in the marketplace, the men give the women their value. But it's not the same way the other way around. Men value is not dictated by women. Or that we have to go out and earn our value. Now that what we provide to society, what we're able to accomplish, our accomplishments and so on and so on, our achievements, that's where our value come from. Women are attracted to that. We are not attracted to that when it comes to women. We are attracted to beauty, youth, chast, and their fertility. That is what we are attracted to. That's what we're attracted to. But women will not agree with that. They will not say, "Oh man, don't dictate my value." Yes, they do. In the marketplace, yes, they do.
And if it wasn't for social media, your value would not be where it is today. It's really inflated, honestly, with social media. Social media has basically crippled a lot of things, and this is one of them. The reality for women to realize that without social media, you most likely would just be a speck on the earth, and we would see you whenever we see you. So you wouldn't have as many, I wouldn't say options, you wouldn't have as much access to a lot of these so-called men if it wasn't for the internet. It would just be like the olden times. You'd have to get on the phone, call somebody that you met with the number, and email, pen pal, whatever, and that'd be the case. But if it wasn't for social media, we actually would be in a lot better standing. It would actually just trim them down, and then they probably would actually realize and see that they really didn't have it as good as they thought they did without it.
Yeah, you gotta look at if you look at before social media, people were confined by who was in their general vicinity, in their area, in their city. Women had to date the guys that were in her general vicinity, in her area. They didn't have access to people all across the world. They had to date the guy that was in their city. Same thing with the men. The men didn't have access to the women from, if I live in Tennessee, I got access to women in Georgia. I got access to women in so on and so on. So we only had to deal with the people who are in our surrounding. That's before social media. Now, but social media came along, the internet came along, and now it inflated their egos. So that now they could get flew out or get DM'd by rappers because they never before internet they had no access to these type of men. Or they can be flew out by rappers, athletes. They can be flew out by dudes and oil guys out there in Dubai and Saudi Arabia and so on and so on. They can be flew out by these guys, you know, they're doing for a certain amount of money, and that is detrimental to society because now the internet inflates their egos and make them think that they are more than what they are. It makes an average woman that is a 5 or a 6, which is average. The internet makes her think she's more than what she is. Make her think that her value is higher than what it is. To the point to where an average woman thinks she's better than an average man. That's why you hear so many women talk about, hey, I need a man that got 6 figures. I need a man that's 6 feet tall. I need a man that they're doing just packing over 6 inches. I need all of this. He needs to be athletic. He needs to be this. He needs to be that. He needs to be able to do this and do that. And these are average women asking for above average men. Because if you want a guy that makes over 6 figures, that's only about 10 to 15. I used to say 15%. Just go with 15%. That is about 15%. But you want him also to be 6 feet tall. Chop that down. They just say doing 10% because only a small percentage of men are over 6 feet tall.
Correct.
6 feet or higher. So let's just say 10%. And then on top of that, they want him to be attractive, charismatic, you know what I'm saying, doing and so on and so on. Chop that number down some more. Or they're doing then they want him to be athletic. Chop that down some more. Or they're doing you're down to like the smallest percentage of men. We talking 5%. You want him to be all this.
Right, and then they want you to be built like Tupac. They want you to be with the thug mentality, but conscious at the same time. They don't work that way. Like, where are y'all getting these ideas from that if it's already hard enough to find a 10% guy, what makes you think you're going to find this type of guy at all? And that's where the inflation and the disorientation in their brains kick in because they just don't understand that it's manifesting this is not real. It's not going to happen. Good luck. You'll be looking forever. You're going to put yourself in a position where you're going to be single forever. No kids. You're too old. So you might as well just go ahead and just cut your losses now and realize that you're not getting that. You'll get a piece or two of what we just described in a person, but you're not going to get all those qualities that you claim to be looking for because that's really what they want. And then they want the man to be 6-figure, stay home, and be all over them. No, I'm not doing that either. No man is doing that.
Like they've always said, if you want a man with money, he's not going to have a lot of time. If you want a man with a lot of time, he's not going to have a lot of money. So you're going to have to pick your poison. Because in order for that man to be able to procure this money, to go out and make this money, some of these guys, they're working 70, they're doing plus hours a week. They're doing because that money is not just coming out of thin air. So when it comes to wanting that type of man, majority of women do not qualify for these type of men. Do you think these men just not gonna want nothing? That you're just gonna come to him with that bad weave, or they're doing with all of that makeup plastered on your face, come to him with multiple children, multiple baby daddies, bad attitude? You think that man that has built himself to be what he is going to put up with that? You think he have no standards whatsoever? Now, because you got to look at the men who have this type of status, they're gonna have standards because they have women. The majority of the time, they have women in abundance. They have options, so they're not. So why would I take an older woman? Because women don't tend to want these men until they get to a certain age, when they get close to the wall or after. Now they want this good guy that's making all this money and is good looking, and then so on and so on. So why would I? After I built myself up, why would I go after an older woman with children, bad attitude, so on and so on, when I could just go to the newer model and get a younger woman before the attitude, before all of the kids, and so on, and before all the miles on them? Why won't I just do that? It makes no sense to think that I'm going to take you at this point, after you done been ran through, after you done got all this trauma from all these other men, and so on and so on. There's no way I'm gonna choose you over the younger model. Now, once you get to a certain age, you're not running out of men to sleep with you. You will always have that. There will always be a line of men wrapped around the corner to sleep with you. You will always have that. But when you start getting older, the older you get, those men stop slowing down. They stop slowing down. So don't think that, okay, well, I could just hot girl summer it up all through my 20s, and then I'll just settle down once I get into my 30s. So there's a lot of trauma. There's a lot of times there's children, okay, and so on and so on. So you're gonna present the man that you want with all of this baggage. Okay, where do they do that at? It never works. And what I don't understand is history has shown women claim that they are so smart. Not all, but some claim that they are so smart, and that they are smarter than men because they're more educated and this, that, and the other. But my question is, if y'all are so much smarter than the men, why do y'all keep falling for the same thing that your grandmother fell for, your mother fell for, your auntie, your cousin, for the last 50 years, y'all have failed for the exact same thing with the exact same type of men. Over and over and over, it's a continuous cycle. Y'all fall for the same thing. It shows that, okay, well, dealing with this type of dude did not work out for my grandma, didn't work out for my mama, didn't work out for my aunties, didn't work out for my cousins, and the friends that I know, it didn't work out for their mama, it didn't work out for their aunties, because 80%, if you look at any family tree right now in the last 50 years, you look at any family tree, the majority of the people in that family are female. There's not as many men as there are females. There are a lot of women. Now, like I said, the majority of households nowadays consist of women and children, not men. So women are sleeping with a small percentage of men and reproducing with these same group of guys. Like I said, if y'all was so smart, y'all would see, okay, maybe I shouldn't mess with Pookie over here. Even though Pookie is fine, I am attracted to him, but I seen my mama mess with this type of man, and I ain't got no daddy. I seen my cousin, I seen my aunties, I even heard from my mama that my grandma was messing with these type of men, and I ain't got no granddaddy. He wasn't around. Like I said, if women were so smart, you would think that they would learn from their mom's mistakes, the cousin's mistakes, the auntie's mistakes. You would think that they would learn from these mistakes, but they keep keep going down the same path that all the other women in their family went down, and it continued 50 years later.
And you got these same type of women who see their friends get knocked up by these same dudes, mm-hmm. And yet they're willing to fall in line to be baby mama number 5, 6, 7, and 8. At this point, if you're baby mama 3, 4, 5, 6, you're the toxic one, because you knew what you were getting into. You were warned by the other baby mamas not to be putting up with this man, not mess around with him, but you chose to go ahead and fall in line and build the sisterhood of single moms. Like, come on, what are we doing here? Mm-hmm. Makes no sense. So you can't sit here and open your mouth saying, "Oh, well, he should have." No, you should have stayed away like you were told to, and not got involved, and just moved on to somebody else who was more worthy enough. But at this point, I'm to the point now, as a man, and seeing how life is going, just to enjoy my life as it is, as far as being single, because at the end of the day, no one's going to be grateful enough for what I do except for me. And most men who are listening to this should understand, if you're paying attention, if you got with a woman at the age of 20 and younger, yeah, she may want to marry you now, But that's not to say 10 years from now she's going to want to divorce you. And that's not saying vice versa. If you go with a woman who's in her 30s, 10 years from now, she wants to get married and she may want to divorce you in the future too. But what I'm saying is, damned if you do, damned if you don't, they're all going to be ungrateful at some point. And I think now, and I'm kind of starting to believe at this point in life, not everyone's going to be built and meant to last for the long term of marriage, because that right there in itself is becoming a struggle for just two people to just constantly be going to the same thing every day. So at this point, you have to be honest with yourself and ask yourself, can you really see yourself loving this person every single day, in and out, through thick and thin? You could, but most of us aren't going to be able to actually do that. And then and that's just what it needs to be coming down to.
See, once upon a time, if you go back X amount of years, I always just say 100 years because that put us back into a certain period. So it's easy to just say, okay, if we go back 100 years, women didn't just walk away and destroy families just because they were unhappy. See, marriage is not about happiness. What they're doing, marriage is about duty, and men understand this. Now, if they took away all of the restrictions for men to walk away, men don't walk away from marriages. One of the reasons is because they would get destroyed in court. They'll be paying out the yin yang. But if you took all of that away, I still believe, this is just my opinion, I still believe that majority of men would stay in their marriages if there was no infidelity. A lot of men would stay in their marriages, especially if they got children involved, because it's not about them, it's about that family. I believe that most men would still stay in their marriages if they had the option to divorce and not get destroyed. I think majority would still stay in their marriages. But women, on the other hand, they care about themselves. They care about themselves more than they care about the family. They will tear that family to pieces if they're not happy. That's why I say that in this generation, there's no such thing as the marriages. There's no such thing as the marriages that lasted forever, last 40, 50 years. Those days are long gone. Long gone. Now that women can walk away at will, and then on the way out, they can clean you out. Oh, they out of here. And when they get bored and don't want to be there no more, or just say, you know what, the hell with this, I'm out of here, they're gone. Forget the family. Forget what the children need. It's all about me. Me. Look at Tia Mowry. Left that man for no apparent reason. Walk away.
And she believes wholeheartedly she's gonna find another man. Okay, you're gonna find men, all right. The ones that want to sleep with you. But even then, I don't think now some of these men want to sleep with you. But I mean, there's men out there who want to sleep with her, but that's about it. Like, I don't think I don't think women understand. Look at Halle Berry. Woman was dedicated 3 times as the hottest woman in the world or whatever at some point in her life. Still single, still can't keep no man, and she was dating men and marrying men in their 20s, and they left her because the older men didn't want her. So, but keep in mind, as us men are sitting here telling you, speaking that we would prefer younger, we get called the predators. But isn't that the same thing she's doing? No, okay. Call me crazy. I'm just saying. But again, we got the same women in the teaching field having, sex with their students, still in middle school, high school, no consequences. 5 years of community service. That's about it. They end up getting pregnant. Just do some community service. But if that was a male teacher, oh man, send them through prison. Man, would probably be dead within a week.
It's possible. Now, the way I see it, women are considered predators for dealing with men of younger ages. Only men are considered predators. But to be honest, I mean, I don't agree with it, but if you go back, I'll say again, you go back 100 years, maybe even a little further. Men, when a woman had her menstrual cycle, she was ready to be married off to men. don't quote me on a time period. So I'm just gonna say 100 years or so, when the father used to pick the mate for his daughter, and when they got to a certain age, and a lot of times it was when they were getting married. They were marrying their daughters off at 12, 13, 14 years old, because once they hit their menstrual cycle, they were able to be married off, and that's just the way it was. Now, in today's age, that's definitely frowned upon. I don't agree with that, but I've always said, if a woman go out and become successful and do her thing, and build a certain life for herself, and she go too long without finding a partner, then I believe that those women become sugar mamas. When you age yourself out of the game, no matter the money, once you age yourself out of the game, you become a sugar mama. Prime example. Look at Cher, and look at her last few boyfriends. They're young. No money. So you got to take care of them.
Who'd you say?
Cher.
Cheryl, the singer?
No. Cher.
Oh, the singer. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Look at Madonna. Same thing. Look at her last boyfriend or two. All been younger. They have no money compared to her. She's taking care of them. Look at doing Erykah Badu. Her last boyfriend, very young. No money compared to her. She was taking care of him. Look at doing look at Trina. She was engaged. Don't know if she got married or not, but she was engaged to a dude a lot younger than her. Didn't have her type of money. She was taking care of him. Look at Keisha Cole. One of her boyfriend was a lot younger than her. And he had no money compared to her. She was taking care of him. And the list goes on. It's a ton of more.
Are you talking about the one that was an NBA star, or was that after?
After him.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. After him. And there's the list goes on. There's a ton of them. Once you age yourself out of the game, because men that you want don't care about your money. If they got their things together, got their life together, they don't care about your money. They don't care.
And on top of that, they're dating these type of men too, because they want to believe that they could build this man that they have pictured in their mind to be the dream guy. But we all know women get tired of taking care of a man, because even they don't want to take care of no man. So it's like you're dating below your means because you realize you can't get someone within your range, and those men don't want you. But you get the younger guys, you want to, hope for the best and give him money and hope that he can use that money to make his own money. But it just, Mia Khalifa got married 3 times already, and that ain't work. And I don't know why people even thought about marrying her. Like, that name alone is already tarnished. So you wouldn't catch me kissing her at all. You wouldn't catch me around her at all.
Not at all. But all right, Montez, hey, I'm glad you pulled up.
Yeah, I will definitely try and get in with the next one for sure. I just woke up. I just happened to wake up around like 2:40, and I was like, okay, it's that time. And I was hitting you up on the Discord and blazing the Discord for somebody to reach me back. So he did. So yeah, whenever you do the next one, I will definitely be here. Just I sleep as soon as I get home and try to sleep, and then if I wake up, I wake up.
Most definitely. I'll let y'all know when the next one gonna be. And and make sure you pull up.
Oh, I will. I definitely will.
All right, most definitely. Well, I'm gonna have to go ahead and sign off on this episode. I'm gonna have to go ahead and sign off on this episode because I actually got something I got to do. So until next time, I do bid y'all adieu.